you find yourself in toxic relationships often?
I find myself currently breaking those patterns. I was completely blinded until it ended.
People described as nice guys are people who are scared to say something that might hurt your feelings, even if it's true.
I've learned that to an extent, privacy is power. In New York, there's a fine line between work and friends. It ended up hurting me in the long run because I had to relearn, no, I do deserve more. Personally, I'm more sexually attracted to someone when I have an emotional connection.
Because I'm not in any apps either, not even running.
Oh my gosh, I found another person in Los Angeles who's not on a dating app. Oh
That
my
is a
gosh, this
shot.
is the worst.
It's like girls are attracted to success and status and that kind of thing.
But you know what? Dad bods are not so bad for the cuddling aspect. I'm not gonna lie.
Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us. I'm your host, Zach Evans. And first of all, thanks to all of our listeners. We've been getting a lot of growth over the last couple weeks, and we got to thank you guys for that. Today, we got a special guest on the show. This is Hayley. Hayley, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself to the audience, name, what you do, and your star sign.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on the show. I am Hayley. My star sign is a Leo.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not surprised at all.
And I do a lot of different things. I'm a female business owner for a wellness company. I do experiential events and marketing and pretty much all around kick-ass.
It's a good way to do it. Yeah. Typical Leo.
Typical Leo.
Leo.
Yeah.
To be fair, I identify as a Leo.
And what are you? What's your star sign?
Pisces.
Okay.
But I don't identify as Pisces. They cry babies. Wham, my girlfriend broke my heart. I'm just sad all the time.
I was about to say, should I call you a ambulance?
Yeah, no, fuck that shit. I definitely do not identify. You definitely seem like a Leo. Do you have, I've a couple close experiences with Leos. Very fun, and they do not end well for me.
Ooh.
Do you find yourself in toxic relationships often?
I find myself currently breaking those patterns. So I've been in toxic relationships. I've also just been in relationships where I want to say I was more lost, or where you have the savior complex.
You were saving them, or they were saving you?
I think I was saving them. I'm such a nurturer at heart, but I think there comes that fine line of how far can you nurture someone when you really stop nurturing yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you mean? Because you don't come across as nurturer. Wouldn't be a word that I would describe you as meeting you for the first time. What do you mean by nurturer?
Well, whoa. Let's back up. That's because the first thing you did was hand me a photo release that was something that I know exactly what everything means. And I was like, whoa, in what capacity are we taking things from? So, of course, my boss babe came out.
I see. So you have two sides. You have
two sides. Like someone recently gave me a compliment and I did not know how to take it. And they were like, you are such a genuinely nice person, but you are someone who is seems like they could be a little gnarly inside, and that you don't want to fuck with, or you don't fuck around. Mm-hmm. And this is what I said, you take out the gnarly part and it's pretty straightforward. But in this day and age, one has to be smart. One has to protect themselves. I just consciously choose to give people the benefit of the doubt and show kindness first, but I'm not afraid to pull out my teeth if I have to.
Mm-hmm. Hence the cutting off these relationships with the fuck boys.
Yeah. Well, and that's the worst part is it wasn't even that. It was actual relationships that just getting sucked into. Mm-hmm.
So when you say you're nurturing, what do you mean by that? When you're nurturing these guys too much? Are you paying their rent? Are you just emotionally their mother? What is going on here?
I would say I'm nurturing to everybody. So I'm like the godmother of how many children? My friends' children. Years ago, I was a nanny. I am that friend who is the designated driver when need be. Mm-hmm. They call me when they need something. But yes, when it came to relationships, there was one I was in, I did help with rent. And when you love someone, at least this was my mentality back then, you do what you have to do to help them thrive too. That is not my mentality today, though.
So when did you realize that you were doing too much and, hey, this is not a balanced relationship? Like, how did that come across? Was there an event that happened, or was it over time? Just like,
I think there were a lot of things that went downhill. There were also a lot of great things and lessons learned. I honestly was completely, and this is something super vulnerable, I was completely blinded until it ended. And then I was like, what did I do? And it still took a few months after to really process. And then it was like something snapped, and I was like, and snapped for the better. And I was like, I am worth so much more, and I'm going to do things differently. And that's what I'm doing now.
Interesting. I've always been curious because, so I've seen both sides.
Yeah.
I started off the nice guy, simp, pushover, because my parents raised me in a very religious family, and I would just get friend zoned and cheated on, and I don't like you, I like your friend, just so to the point that finally I was like, fuck that. I went completely other side. Narcissist, sociopath, fuckboy, gaslighting, everything, right? And was in that phase for a very long time.
Okay.
And now I'm kind of like matured out of that phase where it's like I can see the whole picture.
So where are you now?
The gentleman phase.
The gentleman. There we go. I like that. Okay.
Because the problem is, nice guys aren't really nice. They're scared. What nice guys, people describe as nice guys, are people who are scared to say something that might hurt your feelings, even if it's true. They're scared to set appropriate boundaries in the relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe they're scared to make a move on you, so they just become your friend. But secretly, they're kind of waiting for their shot. Hopefully, one night, you're heartbroken, you're drunk, and you realize they're the love of your life. And like a Taylor Swift song, you guys fall in love.
Oh my gosh.
Did that happen to you?
No, but I dated a rock star once, and the only thing I ever said up until the very end was, whatever you do, while I was with him too, do not Taylor Swift me. I was like, I do not want to be in a song. I was like, I'm such a private person. And so far that hasn't happened. So
I kind of want to be in a song. I think it'd be fun.
I don't.
Not my name, but like I know it's about me.
I mean, I guess that's the ultimate sign of flattery, right?
Yeah.
I still don't know. I guess I just have this internal battle with how much to expose myself in general. That goes with like social media as well. I've learned that to an extent, privacy is power. So that's why I walked in and you're like, what do you do? Before we even got on this podcast. And I was like, I can send you my bio. But I think it comes to like on social media, I project an element of myself, which is I'm a very classy woman and I project that. But I also really don't say a lot. And maybe it's because when you meet me in person, I never stop talking.
I see.
Or maybe it's just because when people don't know as much about me, it allows me to navigate easier behind the scenes and reach success faster. I'd also prefer to over-deliver than under-deliver. And I know that, I mean, I like just moved from New York a year and a half ago, but I know that in LA, people are so flaky. Things fall through all the time. Yeah. So I really don't like to say anything until it's done anyways.
Yeah, LA is a very... I like to think that people are very fake about what they are, but people are very real about what they want, which is something I do appreciate coming from Wisconsin.
Okay.
Where everybody says in Wisconsin, yeah, all I care about is like personality and I don't care about money at all and I don't care about all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but you do care about that stuff. We all care about that stuff.
Yeah.
Not necessarily it's the highest priority. Where people in LA, they're like, yeah, I want to be rich and famous. I want to get hot girls. I want a rich guy, whatever. But then they're fake about what they are. And everybody, I've met like 3 guys who are Drake's manager. I'm like, I can Google Drake's manager. None of you guys are Drake's. Like, it's just, people just make shit up out of the blue. They just pull literally from the sky.
It's crazy. And I think a big difference in New York, and something that I struggled with in LA when I first moved, was in New York, there's a fine line between work and friends, right? And you know where you stand at all times. Or if you're friends with someone, and then you go into like a work thing, like it's a very clear, like people go in with clear intentions. Or, you know, they clearly communicate that. In LA, it's kind of like the land of takers and users. And I'm such a giving person that I had to like take a step back and be like, whoa, is this for my own greater good?
Yeah, I've had to, because Wisconsin is a very nice giving culture.
I lived in Minnesota for 4 months. So Minnesota nice. I get it.
It's the same shit.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a fine line between being generous and being taken advantage of and used.
Yeah.
It's a very thin line.
Oh, 100%.
And I got accused of being a sugar daddy one time.
Ooh.
What do you think about the whole sugar daddy scene? Have you ever partaken? Do you have friends that have done it? Have you ever been curious?
I support myself. I pay for everything myself, and I work incredibly hard. So no, I don't have a sugar daddy. Although, because I have very good taste in fashion, I've had people ask me that, like, oh, well, you dress really nice, or, you know, you drive a nice car, or you eat out at nice places. And I want to be like, well, I am 30 years old and I work incredibly hard. I'm very good with my money. And I learned that along with saving, I do what makes me happy. And I buy, and, you know, when it comes to clothes, I invest in things that will last longer, that are mostly neutrals. And, you know, I do my thing. And I think the second that we stop really probing into everybody else's lives and like saying like, well, how do they get this? How do they get that? And we focus on ourselves and do the work, is when we can be at that place too.
Yeah, I think the main problem is Beyonce and Andrew Tate are destroying everything for the Gen Z culture. Because the problem is, girls grow up with this media coverage of Beyonce, TikTok. Every movie is like woman empowerment, go to your dreams, go make a lot of money, be a career woman, right?
100%.
Which is great. I like that. But the problem is, what most girls get out of that is they want to have the boss bitch attitude, but they don't want to have the boss responsibility and the boss work ethic. And the boss, I have to wake up at 3 a.m. because something went wrong in my company and I'm the only one that can fix it.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, guys watch 3 Andrew Tate videos and they're like, I am the alpha. I'm just like, really? What are you, the alpha?
Okay,
the Wendy's that you're a cashier at? Like, the fuck? You can't just proclaim yourself the boss. You actually have to be the boss, you know?
I agree. So question.
Yeah.
Do you go, so I am your alpha?
First of all, I'm a Sigma male, obviously. Top of the top.
There you go.
But I typically fill the more masculine role in relationships.
Okay.
And I just get along with women who are more feminine from the relationship aspect of things.
There you go.
And I do think that there is an aspect of dominant and submissive that fits well together.
100%.
Whether you're a girl that's dominant and you like a more submissive guy, or vice versa. But I think that a lot of people are stuck in the middle because they really are naturally a submissive person, but then society says you should be dominant, and then they're kind of in this middle ground where they're not really dominant.
Yeah.
And then the guys like are taught to be like these pushover. You know, like every
like
movie,
toxic masculinity is like such a thing that they're so afraid of being that.
Yeah, like every teenage movie is like the masculine guy is the asshole jock who like pushes kids into lockers. He pushes the wheelchair down the stairs. Like he's like this horrible guy, and like the little like emotional guy who on his scooter, he wears his helmet, and like he's the guy at the end of the movie, the girl ends up falling for him. When in reality, most girls aren't into that guy. They're into the more masculine guy, just without all the asshole crazy stuff attached to it.
And I think it comes from, at least, okay, so I've been in that place where I got lost in relationships. I had to learn, right? I had to learn what I wanted, about self-worth and what that means. I had to learn, and I am what I call a high value woman.
I like where this is going.
You could laugh all you want.
No. It's just gonna. I know it's gonna be some good content. I can.
Oh,
tell.
100%. So, and I'll give a story recently of someone that I was casually dating, and this is someone who probably I could see as like a potential partner, but isn't emotionally quite there. But right from the get-go, and I wasn't sure how to quite take this, and I had to take a beat and a pause and think about it. And I was like, these are my non-negotiables. and this was after, I would say, like 2 months of kind of casually dating. And I was like, if you want to continue seeing me, like, this is what I need. And I understand that you're not quite at that place to give me the full scope, but this is what I can. What do you mean?
Like, what are some examples of the things you needed for your boundaries?
Well, it wasn't even boundaries. It was like, this person has a lot going on in their life, but hits all the other check boxes. So like, financially stable, no mental health issues. That's a big one. No drama. Well, none of his own. I mean, there's like other adjacent, very driven. We get along really well. But some of my non-negotiables was he works like 12 to 14 hour days. And I was like, has a major company. And I said, I'm not going to go more than 14 days without seeing you because I don't want to pen pal. That was a big thing.
14 is a lot.
It was a lot. And that was a big, this was someone who I, at the time, and really cared a lot about enough to give that chance. And so, but immediately what that kind of does is, I'll tell you, when a woman becomes high worth and high value, if a man cares enough, they will do what it takes to make it work. So then it kind of pushed him into trying harder, into seeing me more. And then it was like seeing me twice a week and, being more conscious. I was like, communication. I was like, when you go through something or things get busy, I don't want someone who's like, or a potential partner who's going to turn away from me. I want someone to turn in. That doesn't mean that you have to vent your whole thing, but I don't want someone who emotionally shuts down, because I've been there and I will never date someone again who doesn't let me in on the emotional side. Someone who isn't capable of saying they love you or saying their feelings, because at the end of the day, if you're with someone who does that, you think that that's okay. And maybe that's okay for some people, but for me, it ended up hurting me in the long run, because I had to relearn, like, no, I do deserve more. I do deserve someone telling me how they feel,
So when you say incapable, what was it, that he was incapable, or was it that he just wasn't in love with you and he was a fuckboy and he's fucking around and he doesn't want to tell you that because he doesn't want to lose you?
I was with, I would say, my last boyfriend. He was a rock star guy, and I was head over heels in love with him. I think the problem is I probably loved him more than he loved me. Was kind of like at the beginning and everything, like I stood by through like crazy stalker exes who came in and smashed up my car, and I literally went to court with him for 3 months.
With him? Wasn't it be with the girl, or it has?
No. To get we got an order of protection immediately, emergency order of protection, but it took 3 months to serve her because she was nuts. I mean, he knows how to pick them, but he's learned from that experience. But I had to like push him to go and be like, I'm not safe. My car was smashed. She pushed me. He was in denial for a long time. I think he wanted to just like not have the drama. But I, and then at the end, it was like I got blamed for standing by him and doing the right thing. So meaning Meaning it was like, well, I wouldn't have had to pay all these legal fees and these things. And, it wouldn't have escalated if you had just like moved out or something like that and, gone back to looking for an apartment or something like that. And, that was really hard to take because I was like the rock, right? And I did a lot, but this goes from there was an unequal balance. So it was just kind of like everything that could hit that relationship from the outside did. And it never really got to nurture and thrive, but it created so much anxiety on his end that he couldn't be in a relationship. And I think I just tried to overcompensate. So now, as I'm like navigating through, I'm like, I will never overcompensate again. And I will show up as I am. And, as much as someone gives is as much as I'm giving back. And the thing is I have no hard feelings, no anger at all for the person that I was in the relationship with. That was a time in my life where I think I needed that. Like there was a lot of, without the words, a lot of love that got me to where I am today. I think, I like to take things like you learn from every experience, right? And I wish no ill will. I literally hope this person, gets everything they want in life. And that's my mentality, is when you hold on to negativity and anger and resentment. I had an ex in New York who just, that was like the cheating on. Not even going to get into that. But, of letting go of the past, right? Because if you don't let go of the past, you're holding on to this emotional baggage and you can't move forward. And for me, I just kept carrying this baggage. And finally, I'm like free as a bird. I'm like, fuck yeah. It's time to live life.
LA is a place where on both sides, there's lots of toxic relationships.
Oh,
lots
100%.
of gaslighters, sociopaths, narcissists. To be fair, I was part of the problem at one point in my life.
Okay.
And it's interesting because there's two types of people that come out of those relationships.
Yeah.
One type is the person who becomes extremely jaded. And every relationship past that, they're just looking for the first reason to run away and go to something else.
Yeah.
But you seem like you seem to have taken it as a learning experience and as a positive and said, hey, this sucks, but I'm going to learn from it, not make these mistakes again, set firmer boundaries, but also still be open to love in the future.
Yeah. You know what? I would say the first month I was jaded. I was so angry. And then I actually went and I went to one of my closest girlfriends I visited her in Phoenix for 4 days. And she taught me. And she was the person who, weirdly enough, that I met this person through. And she was like, you are such a catch, Hayley. Like, you have it together. You are the kindest person. You're beautiful. You have an IQ that's incredibly high. And, you walk into a room and people gravitate towards you. And you're hung up on this guy who is a good guy, but who just can't be in a relationship right now because he's got his own stuff. And she said, you deserve to be loved and you deserve to live for you and to not live for someone else. And that was really, really eye-opening. And, and why that was also eye-opening is the relationship prior in New York, as I, kind of dedicated a lot of my time to that relationship, to trying to make it perfect. And now just being in the flow of things, I'm in the mentality of, I don't need a significant other. I'm dating, but I'm not exclusive with anybody. And I'm loving it because I'm just at the point where oh, okay, I'm indifferent. So if my needs aren't met, that's okay. I'm fine on my own. I'm happy. I have friends and a support system and work, and I got my little dog, and so
there's so much I want to go into.
Ooh, okay.
So are you the type of person, because now you said you're single, you have your own shit, you don't need a guy, you got money, you got everything, right? Are you able to detach the sexual part of the relationship from the feelings part of the relationship? Because I find it's often harder for girls to do that.
Okay, so that's actually a really great question. What I would be honest and say is I don't casually sleep around. And when I date someone, at least now in this chapter of my life, I want to date them for a while before I begin something, because you're right, women do struggle with that. But I personally am more sexually attracted to someone when I have an emotional connection.
Same.
And it's more enjoyable, and I am an incredibly passionate person, but I'd rather literally be alone than just random. That doesn't do it for me.
Awesome. So so here's where I'm confused.
Okay.
So you're like, okay, I'm single now, I'm enjoying it, I'm enjoying dating people.
Yes.
But it also sounds like you're not sleeping around. So are you looking for someone to date and to be in a relationship with, or are you just like
or do I just want free meals and conversation?
Yeah, are you just enjoying the dinners and conversations?
No, I am. I think I'm at that point where I've healed. I've done the work that I'm seeking that partner. And, I'm not saying like, oh, I got to like date someone for months and months before. That's not what it is. I just like to kind of get to know someone, because if I'm going to invest my time and things like that, right? So I would just say I literally take it day by day. I am not on any dating apps. I've had 3 matchmakers contact me, and my one of my best friends is a matchmaker too. Sometimes I go to her events with her, and like we went to one this weekend, and I literally sat on the side, and the person that she works with was trying to pull me to go, and I was like, no, I'm good. And then I went outside and just started smoking my cigar. And I don't know, maybe see.
Smoke cigars.
Of course I do.
Leo energy right there.
Leo energy, and I do my thing, but I think it's just more like letting the universe bring people to me. I don't need to go and find someone. I know I can go on an app and get a date very easily. I know if I really applied myself, I could find someone faster, but I just have the mentality that I'm in my feminine energy right now, kind of like what you were saying earlier of how girls are too dominant. I'm in my feminine energy. So when that right masculine energy comes, it'll be accepting of that. And so the people that I've met recently have happened by chance. Like one was I was literally walking my dog, and he and his kid were in Beverly Hills, and his kid came up and was like, I'm going to walk your dog, and took the leash out of my hand. And then I was like, okay, but I'm walking to my car. So they walked with me, and then he like asked for my number. And at first I was like, that's a little like, the last time I've ever met someone in person. But then I was like,
smooth.
It was very smooth.
It's almost too smooth.
I know. But then I was like, oh my gosh, this could be one of those like meet cute Hallmark movie moments.
It could be.
Or it could be really creepy. But, if it was the Hallmark moment, I was like, so maybe. So I was like, here's my number, but just so you know, I don't give my number to random strangers on the street. But I thought that you were somewhat normal.
Somewhat normal.
And he started like laughing.
And so what happened? Did he text you?
Yeah, he did. He texted me and took me out. That was the guy who has a lot going on. So
I see.
So yeah. Anyways, but
interesting.
So
the thing about dating apps because I'm not in any apps either, not even Raya.
Oh my gosh, I found another person in Los Angeles who's not on a dating app.
The problem with dating apps is...
Well, first of all, Raya, I'm just saying, is not like it used to be a couple years ago. Anybody can get on it.
I believe it, yeah.
So, for the $19.99 a month.
I'm sure they're making good... That's the thing, their business model. Eventually, they got to make money.
I know.
Is what it is. Back in my fuckboy days, Raya was a huge part of my strategies.
Okay.
I'm not like one of the amateur fuckboys nowadays that's like on Hinge.
Okay. So what's your best pickup line?
I don't really do pickup lines.
Oh, really?
So
let's play out this scenario. If you were to meet me, What would you say if you, let's say we were at like a whiskey cigar bar and you see me smoking my cigar, what would you say?
See, that's the thing that people don't understand.
What?
That's low level fuckboy shit, right?
Okay.
Going up to random people at the bar where you have no, and this is just the truth. And look, you're probably not going to like this. A lot of girls are going to hate me for this. But girls respond to value.
Yes.
And girls respond to status, whether they like it or not, and clout and all these other things that supposedly girls don't like, but actually they all do. So if you're a random dude at some random bar going up to a girl, like, you can make it work if you're like really good looking or you're just really fucking good at talking. And I'm pretty good at talking. I'm like pretty funny.
Okay.
I'm like decent looking, you know, I'm pretty tall, but I'm not like 6'5". I can get one tattoo and girls want to fuck me for no reason. Like, I got to like get by my natural charm and charisma, memorize the characteristics of all 12 star signs. It's very challenging, right? So my whole thing is setting my life up in a way where I'm not going to girls are coming to me, right? So for example, I live in this house. All the time people are saying, Zach, can I have my birthday party here? Zach, can we have my event here? Zach, can we after party? So now I come, somebody brings girls, they introduce them to me. They say, hey, this is Zach. He lives at this house, blah, 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 blah. And now it's like, I don't have to go up to a girl, hey, what, did you fall from heaven? You look like an angel. Some like bullshit, fucking lame ass line. I don't want to do that shit. I did that shit when I was 25. I don't want to do that shit anymore. And I think it is what it is. It's the best way to meet girls, in my opinion.
Well, there you go. You have them brought right to you.
But now I'm much more quality over quantity kind of person. I look much more for intelligence than I used to. And especially social intelligence. Not necessarily they went to college and have a degree and read a bunch of books, but somebody who's interested in talking about psychology, why people do the things that they do. That stuff is intellectually stimulating to me. And I can't be interested in somebody if they don't have
So
that
you're a
same
sapiosexual.
mindset.
Do you know what a sapiosexual is?
I feel like that means I'm gay or something.
No, it does not. A
What is a
sapiosexual
sapiosexual?
means you're sexually attracted to someone based off of like intelligence. So meaning you could have a really hot girl right there, but you don't necessarily want to fuck her if she's dumb as a brat.
That's exactly what it is.
You're sapiosexual. Welcome to the club.
But also, she has to be hot too. like
There you go.
But yeah, if she's hot and she's dumb, like, don't get me wrong, in my 20s, I didn't give a fuck.
No,
as long as they're hot.
I mean, but I'll give you a catch-22 with the hot, intelligent girls, right? Because I'm both. That's like, I mean, I'm usually pretty humble, but if I'm going to be exposing myself, we might as well do it right. But when it comes to it, let's talk business, right? Yeah. So I know the game. I know what it's like to walk into a room, whether they be with investors or to pitch something, and they're looking at your body or your face, and they're not hearing anything you say. I know what it's like to be hired based off of that, and then you're actually presenting things that are useful and things, and then you're not taken seriously, and then, you know, I'm the one who ends up quitting. I also know, you know, what it's like to be objectified for your body on a nonstop daily basis. I like to say that I prefer if I had the ability to objectify my mind. I mean, there's a reason that I didn't dress in like a bodycon dress and wore leather pants, a shirt, a jacket. I mean, I'm not like afraid to take off my jacket, but you know, there's a reason that I dress more classy and modest because I know what my body looks like. Those, you know, if I am with someone, they know too, but I don't need to show my body to get what I want because my mind has proved itself multiple times, as well as my work ethic and what I do. And I think that, you know, in a world where I walk down the street and, you know, it doesn't make me feel great to be hit on all the time. It really doesn't. It's uncomfortable. It's like, you know, to go to the grocery store, or this or that. Like, that was one of the things I loved about New York is nobody cared. In LA, you go out, like I actually like will sometimes like dress down and stuff, not wear makeup on purpose. And it's like, what does that world come to that I literally like dress down and make myself under just so I'm not bothered.
It's interesting. So I never understood, and most guys don't understand, what it's like to be an attractive girl, especially in LA. And the universe has a weird way of balancing things out.
Yeah.
Where, you know, especially my friends from Wisconsin, they see a hot girl living in LA. Oh, your life is so easy. Free drinks. You get invited on trips. You private jet this, yacht that, right? And I didn't realize until I started dating a girl who was in the modeling industry, and I understood, oh, but the problem is every opportunity comes with invisible strings attached.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I'm in the modeling world. I used to be an actress. I don't act anymore, but I still model. I still have those connections. I know exactly. And, you know, it's a big thing, even post Me Too movement of, you know, a lot of photographers will hire you because they want you to sleep with them, or they're, you know, sexually attracted to you. And it really is a fine line of particularly, I would say, in the industry, of how much do you, you know, flirt or show that. But I'm also an incredibly kind person. So to be someone who's beautiful and kind, it can come off as flirting. So I really I'm awful at flirting. You have to, I have
a funny story about this.
Okay. Yeah. I'm so I would just say desensitized that, you know, if a guy comes up and he's I'm like, I've had so many friends be like, oh, that person's hitting on you. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just like, that's great. Like, they should come over and, you know, while I'm in that whiskey or cigar bar, they should come and just name 3 really well-known whiskeys and show me they know what they're talking about. And I would give them the time of day. I mean, I'm
what
not.
Are they going to walk up randomly?
I don't know. I don't know the last time I was in a whiskey or cigar bar. I'm just shooting the shit.
That's funny.
Okay, what's your bad flirting story?
It's not a bad flirting. It's
okay.
The way I understood this was, I started dating this girl, seeing her for 2-3 weeks. So my guy friends are like, oh, who's this girl, right? So I show one of my friends her Instagram, and he's like, oh, dude, I know this girl. Fuck this girl. She's a bitch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I was confused because she was like the biggest sweetheart I've ever met, right? But I didn't understand it until we went out one night. It was her friend's birthday. So we're at one of those clubs, one of the whatever. I think it was Warwick or something.
Oh my God. I don't even go out to clubs anymore.
I don't much either. And I saw a guy come up and try to hit on her. And I saw her blow him off in a very direct way where it's kind of like, thanks, back turn, right? And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's not that she's a bitch. She's just nice to guys that she likes, and she doesn't want to end up in this 30-minute conversation with some guy who thinks that he has a shot.
Those are the worst.
It's like, yeah, like, you got to set your boundaries. Otherwise, you're going to talk to some loser for 30 minutes and fucking lead him on. And then he's going to get butthurt when you have to reject him at the end.
I know. Or they ask for and it's awkward and it eats up your time. Like, if I go out, I'm usually with my girlfriends or something. Mm-hmm. Or if I'm going out with a guy, I'm certainly, if they offer to take me to a club, I'm not down for that. I'm not into that. I'm going to want to go somewhere where, I actually am someone, I may be tiny, I do like to eat. But there's something kind of intimate about breaking bread with someone and getting to know them, and that, or going out for a glass of wine. I love jazz, but somewhere where you're not competing with the pulsing of the music and things like that. But when it comes to people with interests, I let it flow when I meet people naturally. I work in marketing and things like an event, so sometimes that helps. Otherwise, I do my thing. I mean, it's not like I will say, one of the boldest things I ever did. I don't know if I've ever told this story.
Go for it. First time.
First time.
You heard it here first, folks.
First time, New York City. This was it was like an after party for Fashion Week years ago. And I did. And I saw someone that I liked. And I had a cheap red lipstick. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find a pen anywhere because I don't know what it was. I was not going to put the number. I was going to do something bold. So I was chatting with this guy, and I said, roll up your sleeve. Rolled it up, and I wrote my number on it. And then I said, this is my cheap lipstick, so it's okay. And I walked away. He did. He called me the next day. He was a lot more interesting when I had a little wine in me.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the boldest thing that I did. But I would definitely not do that today.
Interesting.
No.
What's your type? Let's do looks first, and then we'll go on to personality later.
Kind eyes that are also intelligent.
Kind eyes. That's
that are also intelligent.
Description.
Well, okay.
I know what you mean, though. When you said it, I could picture it, even though it's like not really.
I want eyes that make me feel safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that make me want to like be held or hold someone's hand or make me want to reach out when I'm having a problem, right? So that like goes that are like, I don't want to say protector because I don't need a protector, but you know, like.
Yeah, every girl wants to feel safe, I think.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, first above physical is everything else that comes with that. I need someone intelligent who can have conversations. I'm also an extroverted introvert. So when I'm comfortable around someone, I don't stop talking. So sorry about that, but you're welcome. I guess I'm comfortable around you. I know I'm on a podcast, so it works. But I'm the type of person where I work really hard, and at the end of the day, to decompress, I like my space, my alone time. So someone who can, you know, sit and they're either watching TV or reading their book or whatever while I'm doing that. Just someone driven, because I'm very driven.
Mm-hmm.
Someone emotional.
So when you say driven, is it because you're very successful in your businesses and things? You want someone even more successful to kind of like, okay, like you're kind of like alpha frame. You need someone even more successful to like that you can look up to because that makes you attractive and puts you more in the. I heard a quote one time. It was something like I'm feminine, but I need the right man to make me a woman.
I'm definitely a woman.
Okay.
So, but what I can say is yes and no to that.
Okay.
Meaning I've dated guys who are super, super driven. I've also dated guys who want everything but aren't motivated. And I think I would just like I like to talk about my wins. That's a big thing for me.
Okay.
It lifts me up. It lifts someone else up. And when you're in a relationship or dating someone and they're not motivated or really doing anything, it's really hard because you kind of mute yourself. And I found myself doing that in the past. But yeah, so I would just say, you know, financially stable. So, you know, that it's not the anxiety on that. Emotionally stable. I obviously understand that mental health is a huge thing. If you have that, you keep that in check. That means that if you're aware that, hey, I struggle with highs and lows or depression, you're either on an antidepressant or you see a therapist. Because I'm not going to like put someone like, oh, I'll never, because of that. Just make sure that you're keeping it in check. From a physical standpoint, I like someone healthy, obviously. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I like to cook healthy. I'm really bad at working out, so preferably not someone who wants a runner, because I'm not a runner. But I do like to stay active. I would just say like healthy, kind eyes. I don't need someone with a six-pack or abs. Just, I don't know.
Dad bod's fine.
Dad bod's fine as long as they're like they don't get past a dad bod.
There's a limit.
But you know what? Dad bods are not so bad for like the cuddling aspect. I'm not gonna lie.
You know,
right?
It doesn't surprise me you say that because so I owned a company in the modeling industry for about a decade.
Okay.
And there's something we called hot guy phase, where girls would come in, 18, 19, 20, new to the agency, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And they would always be dating a young hot guy. And these guys were like clones of each other. Like they all TikTok hair, dangly earring.
Oh my God.
It was like I couldn't tell the difference. They were all the same.
Yeah.
Right? But the most beautiful girls, like the top of the top, whenever they were 21, 22, 23, they would always be dating some normal looking fucking dude. Like maybe
Can
bod.
I tell you why?
I already know why, but
you already know
go
why?
for it. Yeah.
Okay, let me give it frame.
Because they get bored with a hot guy. Well, go ahead.
That and there's other reasons too.
Okay, what's the other reason?
Okay, let's say you're like an 8, right? Or you're a 7. If you date like a 5, your status goes up to a 9 or a 10 next to them too. Just saying, you walk into a room.
Yeah.
You get a little elevated.
I don't think that's the reason.
Okay, that's one of them, though.
Maybe.
But also what I'll say is with the super hot guys, they're usually in the fuckboy phase, or they can get all of the girls. The amount of guys who are, have that six pack and that, who actually want to settle down and who aren't spending all of their money on like protein powder and, juicing up or like the luxury material things instead of saving and investing. I can't even tell you a percentage. And so to go and be like, hey, I found a guy who is on the same emotional standpoint as me. They're financially stable, so we can they want the same things as me. They're looking towards a future. So what if they have a little bit of a dad bod? I mean, that's on the least, that's the least of my worries.
Mm-hmm. I think too, it's a matter of I do think that guys, in terms of just pure attraction, not connection, not everything else, but just pure attraction is mainly looks.
Yeah.
Right? If a girl I'm not attracted to physically, she could have the most amazing personality. I'm sorry, I'll be your best friend, but I can't date you. I just can't.
Yeah.
And I think girls are attracted to success and status and that kind of thing in terms of pure attraction. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that the hot guy thing gets old because the reality is most hot people are boring because they've never had to develop skills outside of being hot. They're just always hot. People always like them. Okay, cool. I can just talk about doing Molly at Disneyland for the fucking 20th time and everybody likes me for no reason, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you grew up and you weren't the hot person, it's oh shit, girls don't like me. All right, well, I got to be fucking successful. I got to start a business. I got to become ambitious. I have to do all these things because of
100%, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think in terms of money, do you have a bar that you set that you need a guy who makes at least this much, anything like that?
I've dated guys who were literally dirt broke and I helped them in certain ways.
But you said you're getting out of that, yes or no?
Well, I'm saying in the past.
Okay.
And I've also dated incredibly wealthy men.
Okay.
And I would say I will never put myself through financially helping someone again. It was just too much and there wasn't a balance. They didn't have the opportunity to have their own masculine energy, right? Mm-hmm. But I also don't have a specific number because as long as they're still building, right? So they're still in that entrepreneurial mindset. I guess they could be retired if they make enough. That's fine too. To each their own. But I think to put a number on someone, that's like a price tag, right? And why would I limit myself? I feel like the universe is going to bring me the right person. And, eventually when you have trust with someone, I'm sure they'll give insight, but that's not necessarily my concern. Obviously, if I was to get serious with someone or before a ring, I would certainly, inquire on their income and certain things. You learn your lessons, but I don't know. So I don't know if that answers that.
Yeah, I just think that I think girls should care about money.
Oh, I care, but I'm not going to be like, oh, you need to have made $1 million or $500,000 or whatever.
I just think that girls get kind of shamed sometimes and oh, you're a gold digger if you want a guy
100%.
And yes, there exist gold diggers, but 90% of the girls that I meet that get accused of being a gold digger, it's no, they just have standards for what they want their guy to be, and I think that's okay.
And I think what it comes down to too is if you're a gold digger and you're not doing anything and your guy's just paying for Botox and facials and you literally sit there and wait until he wants to fuck you, that's a gold digger, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're someone who you are a woman who enjoys working, who enjoys doing things, and you want a man who's financially stable and can take you out to dinner and you can do things with, and who isn't I'm over the point where no, I don't want to go out to the club and dance with you. I want to go away for the weekend because I want to have that intimate one-on-one time with you to build that connection. That's why. It's not like, oh, I want to just take the Instagram picture. I want that quality time to see how we are, you know, because when you're away with someone and you take them out of your environment, you learn a lot about them.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a more mature way of looking at it, but also it's what I bring to the table. So I'm a high value woman. Obviously, I'm going to want a high value man too.
I think too, it's as long as it's a balanced relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I'll pay for the Botox and the blah, 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 and all this shit. Okay, fine. But if my wife wants that, cool. But then like, I'm not going to come home and like, oh, let's split the chores. It's like, okay, I want you to take care of the household. If we have kids, like, I want you to be staying at home and raising the kids, not just I'm paying for a nanny. I want my wife to raise my kids. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's fine. Or like you said, it can be a boss bitch who also has a job, and then we split everything and we both contribute financially. As long as both people, I think, are contributing and not one of these just kind of like, yeah, just lay around and watch Netflix and get facials and get Botox. And then, yeah, thank you. Bring me my money, slave. You know, as long as it's not that type of relationship.
And what about that middle ground of what about like being that working woman and then having a successful man where, yeah, like whatever, he's, you know, paying for this or that, but you're still working. And okay, maybe you have a part-time nanny or maybe your kid's in date, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're still present, meaning like when I eventually have kids, I like working. I'm also a certified life coach. And that really, I mean, I do a lot of different things, wear a lot of different hats, but that really fills me with joy of getting to help people. And I wouldn't want to give that up. I like working in branding and marketing because it intellectually stimulates me. But I think when I have kids, I would scale it down. But, you know, I would probably want at least part-time help so that way I could continue to do those things because that's what makes me happy. I wouldn't be someone truly happy with just sitting at home. And so it is that balance of, you know, and I think when you are dating or having, you know, and meeting a potential partner of just having that open communication, making sure you're on the same page, right? And that's really, really important. And I think a lot of people, they meet someone who's got potential and there's not a lot of like easy options. And like to find someone whose potential is not as easy as maybe it was a couple years ago. I don't know why. Maybe they're all taken. But when you do, it's almost like you kind of tiptoe around or you don't say what your needs are. And that really got me in trouble in the past. So I'm like, okay, if someone isn't on the same page as me, that's 100% okay. They can do their thing. And I'm going to go and find someone who is on the same page as me.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I call conscious dating.
Self-awareness and
things communicating.
That are
yeah.
missing in today's culture.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, we are about out of time. I got some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Quick questions, quick answers.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Tacos. Ooh. Oh, yeah.
I feel like tacos, you either have to get really expensive or like really cheap.
Yes.
Street tacos.
Yes. Okay, that is one thing. I like a lot of classy things. When it comes to tacos, sometimes it's the hole in the wall. Trucks are iffy. I'm not a taco truck because I've gotten sick more than enough. But like the hole in the wall places.
It's run by like a dad and his son.
Yes.
They've been run it for like 40 years.
Yes,
Those are the
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Favorite candy?
Twizzlers. Although right now I'm enjoying
Twizzlers. Are you kidding me? That's like bottom of the barrel. Like if you Halloween when you trade your candy, we'd all trade Twizzlers.
Everybody gives me their Twizzlers. It's great.
That's crazy.
I only like the strawberry ones. The cherry ones taste like cough syrup.
Yeah.
But I currently like the Australian
they all
licorice.
Taste like cough. They're all horrible. I'm not backing you up on this one.
Okay. Well, you know, I used to like sour candies, and then I just realized that like, as much as I loved them, then, you know, your teeth hurt after a while.
You know, you kind of remind me of a Sour Patch Kid.
Ooh, I do. Okay, and
it's like
do
at
tell
first,
why.
Kind of like have this hard-ass exterior, but I feel like you have like a
then
sweet
I melt
side.
a little. Oh, of course. I
like deep inside, buried, you know.
Deep buried underneath
in
the
soul. Favorite first date spot or activity?
Jazz.
Interesting.
Someone can take me to a really great jazz place.
Have you been to Vibrato Grill in it's like north?
I have. It's fantastic.
Next travel destination.
Italy.
You haven't been to Italy?
I haven't, and I've wanted to go so badly.
Venice is overrated. Florence is amazing. Rome is great if you like history and that kind of thing.
But that is somewhere I've always wanted to go, and that's my goal for 2024 is I'm going to go to Italy.
Nice.
I'm thinking maybe for my birthday in the summer.
Do it. All right. Where can people find you? What's your Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want to shout out?
I only have one social media because I'm a private person who doesn't really. So Hayley Elizabeth Bird on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, this has been fun. We'll have to do round 2 sometime.
I know. We will.
All right. Thanks for listening.